Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back for AOR. This time we are in France and yeah, my feeling about this track was quite okay. I think my pace was not the best, but I think it was at least quite decent. And currently you can see the lap I did before the race. I think it was just 10 minutes before the actual race started or the actual qualifying started, and this lap was actually really strong, and I hope that I could repeat that kind of lap time in the real qualifying session as well. You can see we are on the super soft tires, and normally you try to go for a 128.0, maybe 27.9 if you can hit a perfect lap. But I knew, yeah, if I can get that kind of lap, I should be able to start in a very good position. And we also have to see about strategy. It's quite tricky around here, but I found a working setup and I was quite comfortable. And you can see currently we are on course to set a 28 point around 6 or a point 7, which is actually really strong if you keep in mind that the super softs are around 5 to 6 tenths lower compared to the ultras. And yeah, that was the lap. I was quite happy with it, and let's see what it was in what it was like in quali. And already you can see we will have rain in the session, and I was thinking quite a lot. Do I risk it and put on a dry setup, or do I take a rain setup? And at the end I decided to go for a mixed one. It was basically half dry and half wet, if that makes sense. But unfortunately you can see that the lap time just wasn't there, and you can see currently we are over a second down on what we normally could do, and we really have to improve on this lap because currently we are in P16 and that was not the place I wanted to start in, especially when there's rain in the race. And yeah, currently the lap actually, it didn't feel too bad, and I think it wasn't a bad lap at all, but somehow I was losing a lot of time and on the straights and in the corners, although the setup wasn't too much different compared to what I used in the session earlier. And yeah, I was really surprised about that. You can see we are just now, I think, over or nearly 2 tenths up on our previous lap, which was actually quite surprising to me. I expected to be quite higher up, but yeah, it is what it is, and we have to nail the last sector in order to gain more positions. And again, the lap, it wasn't too bad. I think I hit the apexes similarly to what I did in the earlier session, but yeah, somehow the lap time overall wasn't there, and you can see we are crossing the line. We are now only P15, and to be honest, I was quite surprised when I saw that, and yeah, I couldn't really believe it because our normal pace was good enough for at least the top 3, and now we have to start outside the top 10 in rainy conditions. So yeah, we have quite a bit of work to do. We have 5 red lights and lights out, and away we go. And we really have to be cautious here because already you can see we can't see anything. So we have to brake early into turn 1. The last thing we want is damage, and that was the reason I was really cautious in this part. You can see there are a few cars off the roads already, a few front wings flying through the air, and you can just see how bad the visibility is. A few contacts left, right and behind us, and it was all a bit messy, and it's really important that we keep calm. You can see Michael also has or had quite a difficult quali. I think he used quite a lot of downforce in the quali, which made him a bit slower, and we gained quite a bit on the straights, but we tried to go for a move, but somehow we were not really able to make it stick because we were squeezed onto the apex and Michael got the position back, and not the best start so far, but at least no damage. And yeah, that was, as I said, the most important thing to me, because the race is very long. Especially you could see that there will be dry parts in the race as well, so strategy might be a point. So a lot of things to fight for, and who knows, everything can happen, and our normal pace also in the range should be quite decent, and it's just about being patient and doing the right moves. And you can see that Tim ran really wide in one of the corners, and we were really close to him, and we got closer and closer on the straight. And are we able to make a move? We tried to brake late, go for the inside, but we back out of it because the next turn is a right-hander, and it's quite difficult to keep the position there. And so far still P15, but you can see a car spun, so we gained our first position. And actually the race was quite fun, especially in this point, because there were battles left, right and center, and it was a lot of fun battle with these guys because they are very fair, most of the time very fair, and it's quite nice that you can take different lines and be creative, find your own way through a corner, and sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower, and that was one of the things I really liked about this race. And you can see we got quite a good run out of this first sector, and we brake really late into the left-hander, and we are up into P13, which yeah is at least a little bit improvement, I guess. And now in lap 7 you can see there are a lot of fights ahead, you can't really see anything, and we have to brake early in order not to hit anyone, because it's also quite difficult to see the braking points. And again we are searching for different lines in order to make some kinds of cutback, and we are gaining a bit on the straight on Michael, and we were not really able so far to make the move stick. But I think if we can stay close, especially in this part, we might have a chance on him, because in the corners we are no match because we don't really have that much downforce, but especially on the straights we are really strong, and maybe we have a chance there, especially if the cars ahead fight more and more. And you can see they are again compromising their lines, and a little bit of damage was to one of the cars, and we got a really good run out of the last corner, and that was the move I anticipated a bit, because again our straight line speed helps us. We brake late and Michael doesn't defend it too much, so we take P12, and next up is J-Thorn. And I had a thought about going down the inside, but I backed out because I thought it might be better to wait on the straight, because it's quite tricky to make a move stick there. And there you can see one of my weak parts in this race. I think that was probably because of the missing downforce, but on the straight again we closed the gap, and we are looking a bit for the inside, but we are not really trying a move. As you can see, Tim went really wide, and the same goes to J-Thorn. And now we have quite a good run out of the chicane, and we are now side by side onto the fast right-hander, and we don't back off and make the position stick around the outside. And now we move on to lap 9, and this is actually something that was really not good, because the virtual safety car basically helps the cars at the front because they can pit, but I knew at when we crossed the line, the start-finish line, the virtual safety car might be over, so we don't gain a free pit stop. I really thought about going into the pits because my tires were going off quite a bit, and you can see already the first few cars went into the pits, which is very smart and probably the thing to do when you're leading, because you gain a lot of time compared to the people who are not going into the pits, because yeah, everyone can't really drive at full speed on while the VSC is activated. So I had to think about a different strategy, and I also was not sure at all when the rain would get less and less, because my engineer told me that the rain is easing off and the track is getting drier and drier. But the thing is, if I pit now and the track takes another 14 laps to dry up, then I might have to do a 2 or 3 stop, and so I wasn't sure if to pit that early was a great idea. And you could see we were able to make the move stick on one of the cars, and currently we are in P5. And I also was thinking about extending the stint as Flores dives up on our inside, as you might expect on his new tires, and we don't really defend it too much because he's much quicker at this point of the race. But as I said, I was also thinking about extending the stint, but as we got further and further in the Grand Prix, I had to pit because the tires got quite worn, and the people who went into the pits got a huge undercut on me. And I asked Jeff quite a lot of time whether the conditions change, and he couldn't give me a good answer. He always said the intermediates are the best tires out there. So I decided to go out on the inters again, and you can see it's actually not raining anymore. And to be honest, when I saw that, I was quite angry, because I thought next lap or the lap after it there might be dry tires available. And I was quite furious about that, because that was actually something Jeff had to tell me if yeah, the track gets dry. But the more laps I did, the more I noticed that the rain got less, but the water was still on the track. And now we are in lap 16, and the rain is, or not the rain, but the water is still there, and you can see we were pushing flat out. I was not holding back at all. I was pushing like crazy because I thought that the track could get dry at any point, and so my tire wear was quite a lot, but I was not really caring, and we got a 3-second penalty because we were pushing quite a lot. But yeah, we are able to make the move down the inside of Big C. We were absolutely rapid at this point. Our pace was really, really quick, and something you might pay attention to is the gap currently to Clarky Head is 7.4 seconds, and you will see that this will decrease quite a lot in the next few laps. And also, yeah, the reason for that is is because Clarky went into the pits. But you can see in this lap, actually in lap 19, the DRS got available, which means that the track is dry now, and it should be an easy run till the end. Or yeah, what means easy? We have to push a lot in order to catch Clarky, because I think he had 6 seconds worth of penalties, so we just had 3, and you can just see how much time we were gaining on him. We were gaining, I think, sometimes half a second, sometimes thick 3/4 of a second, and now we are in the last lap. You can see we got a warning in the first turn, and I think we get a warning in one of the next corners as well, but that was all part of a plan because I knew with 2 warnings we should be safe, and Clarky had 3 seconds more to his time, so if we keep it clean now we will get his position as well, but I really wanted to push as much as possible. Something that wasn't ideal as well was my fuel. I should have put a lot more fuel in the car. Basically the whole race I was fuel saving quite a lot, and that cost so much time, and yeah, that was not ideal. I think we were losing a lot of time on the straights due to that, but yeah, never mind. And so far it's looking quite good for P7, which is not too bad, I guess. I'm always happy when I can get points in such a competitive league, and I had a lot of fun in this race as well, so I won't complain. It's not my favorite track in the world, but it allows a lot of good racing, and I think that is what matters. And we are going over the line, and you can see we get the P7 at the end, so not too bad. Could have been much worse, and I think the people on top of the leader of the championship had also quite tricky races, so actually I think we gained a few positions, not positions but points on them, although I think we lost a few to the cars behind. And currently you can see the drivers table after the 8th round. We are currently in P5, but you can see we are just 25 points behind the leaders, and to be honest I think the pace is there to get really good results. It's just about getting everything together and have a bit of luck. But yeah, so far it's looking quite good, and I'm looking forward to the next races as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next one as well, and goodbye.